Post-credit scenes used to feel special. You'd sit through the credits, all of the text, excited for a teaser, or a joke, or a huge reveal that hinted at what's coming next. But what happened to them? And what's going on? Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlus Commentary, where today we are talking about a special question that I think actually a lot of people are talking about these days. 2026 is loaded with a bunch of movies that could incredibly impact franchises, and a lot of ways they do that is via post-credit scenes. So it makes you wonder, are post-credit scenes still worth it? Because they've really diluted the significance of certain things. So it makes you wonder. So I am here, as always, to see if they are really that worth it. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first and most important question is, where did post-credit scenes actually come from at first? So post-credit scenes weren't really always a standard practice in the film industry. Early examples existed, but they became mainstream when Marvel used them a lot to do with storytelling tools rather than just the gag. The Nick Fury in Iron Man was a good introduction scene, because it changed expectations forever, turning credits into part of the experience. Suddenly stayed seated, felt rewarding, and audiences were trained to expect something meaningful after the story had actually ended, and it also gave us something to look forward to. And at their best, post-credit scenes built anticipation and made cinematic universes feel connected. But post-credit scenes used to work because of how they felt rare and intentional to make you feel in touch with the story and the future of these stories. But as I said, they felt very rare because at the time when they were first introduced, they weren't exactly on every single Marvel movie. They weren't exactly with every single thing, but they teased future stories without overshadowing the film that you have actually just watched. They rewarded attentive fans, sparked speculation, and extended the excitement beyond runtime. Importantly, they didn't feel mandatory. Missing one didn't ruin the movie, but catching it felt like a bonus, almost. And that balance, I think, is what made it really effective. But since then, there's been a bit of a de-evolution since, an oversaturation and diminishing returns. Today, post-credit scenes are basically everywhere, and almost every franchise includes one, whether it adds value or not. As a result, many scenes feel rushed, unnecessary, and or disconnected. Some tease projects that are years away, some reference characters audiences barely know, and others exist purely just to fulfill expectations. When every movie has a tease, none of them really feel special anymore. Which is completely understandable, especially from someone who loves watching post-credit scenes. Now, there is some cases where post-credit scenes did more harm than good, which is the unfortunate truth. And in these cases, post-credit scenes actively hurt the film itself. They can undermine emotional endings, shift focus away from the satisfying conclusion, or promise payoffs that never happen, such as Ant-Man and Quantumania. When a scene sets up something that gets delayed, cancelled, or poorly executed later, it retroactively weakens the original movie. Instead of excitement, audiences are left with confusion or disappointment. I would argue that post-credit scenes these days are definitely dependent on their franchises and the audience's feedback towards them, such as fatigue. But post-credit scenes now often feel more like rewards and more like obligations. Viewers stay seated not out of excitement but out of fear of missing something important. This creates fatigue, especially for casual audiences who don't want to track interconnected storylines across multiple films and shows. What was once fun now feels like homework and contributing to the franchise's burnout. In saying all of this, post-credit scenes still do work. Despite the fatigue, they still can work if they are used correctly. Comedy tags, character moments, or self-contained teasers that don't overpromise remain effective. Scenes that enhance the tone of the film rather than advertise the next film that they tend to later. The key is intention. When a post-credit scene feels earned, audiences still respond positively. Now, all of this isn't to say that there shouldn't be a change. So, should studios rethink them? Yes. Studios may need to consider how often and why they use post-credit scenes. Not every movie needs one, and restraint could reduce burnout and rebuild anticipation. Sometimes the best ending is just simply letting the credits roll. So, are post-credit scenes still worth it? They can be, but only when they serve the story, not the schedule. Sometimes less is more. Post-credit scenes aren't inherently bad, they're just overused. When they are treated as special editions rather than mandatory marketing tools, they still have value. The problem isn't the concept, it's the execution. Without intention and payoff, the post-credit scenes loses the very excitement that made them popular in the first place. But without further ado, folks, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment what else you'd like to see on the channel as always. But without further ado, folks, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!
Yeah!